Good evening, everybody. You've got gas, the great American auto scene, and we are now live on Facebook and GotGas.com. If you want to tune in and watch us there, we are going for it, and we've got our always, we got Anna and the twins tonight.
Holly or Edelbrock?
Holly or Edelbrock?
Oh, I'd like a carburetor. Never mind.
That's
I'm good.
Do you know what?
What?
Do you know it's important to wear a bra on gas? Because gas backwards is sag, and we don't want that on this program.
Oh, it's a good thing we're not part of FCC. I'll tell you what. This is not commercial broadcast, folks.
Man.
You don't have to worry about that.
Wow-wee.
Oh, yes. Them
So,
too.
hey, you're Hot Rod Bob Beck.
Yes.
I'm Bruce Barker. And Octane there. And
Troublemaker.
Troublemaker, yes.
Man, well, you know, all this pre-show frivolity.
Yes.
Anna, you were stuck in traffic. You know, it's a show about cars, and of course you had to be stuck in traffic. It's just how it works.
Yep.
That was Hollywood traffic, too, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, I'll tell you what. You know, and traffic today, I was coming up from a beautiful downtown Anaheim, California, and the drive wasn't all that bad, but the freeway they're working on where I live is taking different routes now. So I got to see different things today on my way because they can't.
Did you see me?
No.
I was there putting on my makeup.
Oh, you were that one.
I was on the road with mascara wands. Yes.
Oh, it's a good thing you didn't hit a bump.
No, you know what? I
No,
can
what?
multitask. I can drive and do mascara, but I can't find out where I'm going. I'm very bad. That's why
Yeah.
I was late. I'm sorry.
You were here on time. The show didn't start filming yet.
Yeah, there you go. So you were in Hot Rod Bob's territory, and I was in neither of your territories.
No, you were lucky. You were here. You've got that long drive to work. What do you got, 2 blocks?
Yeah, a couple of blocks, which is about all half the cars I drive will make anyway.
Yeah, well, you got those good old Fords. And speaking of good old Fords, this weekend, I'm going to be at Knott's Berry Farm on Sunday for the Fabulous Ford Show. Now, this is the largest Ford show west of Dearborn, Michigan. 1,800 cars. It's sold out. You can't get another car into the show, but you can get in free as a spectator. And I'll be assisting with Donnie Cameron. I can't say Donnie's last name. It's Horsepower for an Hour Radio. We'll be broadcasting live from Knott's Berry Farm at the Fabulous Ford Show. So stop up and see us on stage. Horsepower for an Hour. You can also check them out here on Facebook and say hi to Donnie. We're going to be down there. Glenn Eldridge is going to be there. Donnie's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Don't know if Spence is going to make it or Jim Neighbors, but we are going to be down there at the Fabulous Ford Show at Knott's Berry Farm. The hot ticket, park at the Sears parking lot across the street. You don't have to pay for parking.
That's
and then
right.
walk on over. It's free to spectators. 1,800 Fords, and the feature of this year's show is going to be the history of the Flathead Ford. And my wife, Peggy's car, is going to be right there, forefront on the grass, because it's flathead powered. It's a 1946 Ford sedan, and she's going to have her car displayed in the special parking area. We've got about 11 or 12 special Fords that are all flathead powered going to be there, but 1,800 other Fords, including cars from Saleen, Shelby, and others that are going to be there with their vendor booths as well. So you can check out all the great machines there. Roush will probably be there. There'll be great things going on. It's at Knott's Berry Farm this Sunday.
Is this Peggy's car right here?
That is Peggy's car right alongside mine.
Wow, okay.
And we are
Just
wearing
love
our event shirts from our wedding last year.
it. Yeah.
And this year we're going to celebrate our first anniversary at Irwindale Speedway, July 1st for Night of Destruction. Now, if you'd like to renew your vows or reconfirm your vows or even get married like Victor's going to do there, come on down. Give me a call, actually. Get with me on Facebook. Send me a private message. You got to have a hot rod, and you get in free. It's going to be Night of Destruction. I think that's appropriate for
that
getting
is
married.
it's so appropriate.
It's so appropriate. There'll be fireworks. There'll be all sorts of things. And the famous Joe Walla from the King's Band is going to be the ordained minister there performing the ceremonies. So Rings and Rods too, because when we got married it was Rings and Rods. So it's Rings and Rods too, our first anniversary, and we're going to perform a wedding service for up to 50 couples. The price of admission for those couples, bring your hot rod.
That's it?
That's it. You
Wow.
bring your hot
Can
rod.
I
Get ready.
say something?
You always do.
Can you repeat all of that? I didn't hear
Sure.
one thing you said.
You didn't?
Oh, wait, can I say something else?
What else would you like to say?
Joe Walla
Yes.
is a fabulous guitar player
Yes,
as
he
well.
is.
One time he was on stage and he fell.
Oh.
And he hit the ground on his back and didn't miss a beat on the guitar. He's fabulous.
He's hit he hit the ground on his chopper too. And that's when he decided he's going back to four wheels. He drives a gorgeous Lincoln coupe that I'd say he brings out to the cruise nights. But Joe Walla and the Kings, well, Joe Walla's going to be there. I don't know if the Kings are going to show up for this, but Joe's an ordained minister, and he's going to be performing the ceremony July 1st, Irwindale Speedway. During the Night of Destruction, we're going to be on the starting line doing the services during the autograph session for the drivers. So you're going to have all this going on, and Wild Thing, the flame-throwing coupe, is going to be there.
Is that a Ford?
No, it's a Chevy.
Oh, can I say something?
Sure, why not?
Anna Octane.
Fords
Fords.
eat Chevys for breakfast.
Well, the best way to get a Ford going is with Chevy parts.
I'm a Ford girl.
Now, you got to go back far, but even Louis Chevrolet,
Yeah.
his claim to fame was not the Chevrolet car at first. It was the speed parts they made for the Ford Model A and Model Ts.
Sure.
They made
But
cylinder
can
head
I say
conversions.
something?
Oh, go ahead.
Ford had Dodge motors in 1920 in the Model T Coupe. They had a 4-cylinder Dodge motor.
I know
So it's
that.
not just
they
Chevy, it's
did?
Dodge too. Yes.
Okay.
I know
Built
this
Ford
much.
tough with a lot of Mopar stuff.
Well, there you go.
Ooh,
I
that
know
was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dodge Brothers were doing a lot of machine parts for
Yeah.
Ford before they struck out on their own.
Yeah,
So,
well, they were they started Dodge Brothers, and then they became part of Chrysler Corporation
Right.
as Walter P. Chrysler and that group decided to try and compete with Generous Motors.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of...
Can I say something?
Oh, okay.
You're very wise. You know everything. I'm so blessed to be on the show with
Oh,
you.
yeah,
Thank you.
wise
I
guy.
learned so much.
Hey,
That's
by
why
the
I'm
way,
here. I'm
yes.
here for an educational opportunity.
It's sort of like taking community college courses.
Yeah.
Bob, you were
Yes.
talking about the Knott's Berry Farm Fabulous
Yes.
Fords Forever show. This is the car I was going to take, and I
yeah.
just had these
Beautiful.
stupid scheduling commitments, and I just couldn't get out of all of them. And darn it, it's going to have to wait till next year.
Oh,
Man.
That's beautiful.
I know. Well, thank
I
you.
love
It's-
your Lincoln.
That's car porn.
That
yeah,
is.
it kind of is swoopy car
Look at the
porn, isn't
boobs
it?
on that car.
Yeah,
It's got some gray headlights.
Yeah.
which one's Edelbrock and which one's Holly?
I don't know, but they're both kind of droopy.
Oh, you mean SAG?
They need a bra.
Are they union members? Oh, no, that's another story.
Are they SAG after?
Yeah, they sag after what?
No, we're non-union.
We're non-union. All right, Rigs and Rods, Irwindale Speedway. Let me know. Get a private message to me if you want to be part of it. It's free for you and your significant other. Bring your hot rod. I've got space for 45 more cars, and it's going to be free. What we'll do is we'll meet at Irwindale Speedway at 3 p.m., pull into a private parking area alongside the grandstands. It's fenced and guarded throughout the evening. You get to be there for the races. You get to have your ceremony done on the starting line by Joe Walla. Wild Thing will light the fires out of the exhaust as soon as everyone says I do or did or should have done, and we'll get it going. Plus, you got the Night of Destruction, Demolition Derby, trailer races, you name it. It's going to be a night of destruction of parts and pieces all over the track, and then one of the best fireworks shows around. July 1st at Irwindale Speedway. Get a private message to me. I know Victor's going to be part of this. He's actually going to get married. After he saw us get married, he decided he wanted to do something like that, and he's going to join us. We've got a few other people that are in there that are going to be coming up, get their vows renewed or reconfirmed. My wife keeps telling me they're not getting renewed. They never expired. That might
Sort of
not
like
be a bad idea, though. Anyway,
for some, yeah.
for some, yeah.
For some.
You know, you got to renew it. You got to take the test and renew your vows.
That's right. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Oh, go right ahead.
You need 45 cars. If I bring one, then you'll only need 44, right? But
That's
I'll bring my
right.
car, but I'm not coming to get married. I don't want to get married. I'm scared. But I do love Night of Destruction and the fireworks, so I
Yes.
might come anyway just to harass everybody who's getting married.
Sounds fair to me.
Well, there you go. And
All
July
right.
1st, by the way, is my
July
brother's
1st.
birthday,
Is
so
it?
I'll see if I can get him to go.
There
He's
you
got a
go.
bit of a road trip. He lives in Anchorage, so
That's a little bit of a drive, yeah.
a little bit, yeah.
If he makes all the lights, it won't take long.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of lights, but it'd take less
Lot of
time if he
lights.
makes them all.
All right, the other thing that we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about a little bit later on, NHRA's Holly National Hot Rod Reunion in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's coming up Father's Day weekend. It's going to be a great bash. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, and we got a special promo for them. Anna, what do you got going? You got
Here I
something
am.
and Bobby's on the phone patiently waiting.
Oh,
Yeah.
can I say something?
Oh, go ahead.
I have a shout out to Ron Abbott, who drove
Yes.
Bobby Schlegel's Hell's a Poppin' car.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that because I'm going to do a story on that vehicle for Old School Rods magazine.
Cool.
So we're going to talk to Bobby in a minute
In a minute, he's on the line
or in
waiting.
a second.
In a few seconds. Bobby, are you there with us? Are you?
Hey, I'm stuck. Yep, I'm just trying to settle down with all the happiness you guys are spreading around tonight.
Oh yeah, we got an injection
that's
of
what
happy
it is.
pills today, and we're doing fine. How you doing, Bobby?
Good. How's everything out there with you guys?
We're doing great. I got your Bruce and I have your shirts on.
Indeed. Yes.
Yep, I noticed that. I love it.
And,
We're having
and,
the double drags here tonight
yes,
with the two masters over here.
yeah.
No, everything's going good.
Good.
Oh,
What do you want to know?
I wanted to say I'm sorry about Ron, but tell us about. I think he was the third driver on Hell's a Poppin', right?
He's the original Hell's a Poppin'
Oh, the
car
original.
was Ron's. The one I have now is his first one that he had of Dragmaster. That was his first drag car. He'd done probably a few door slammers in the beginning, but when he really got into racing, he did it with the Dragmaster. The one you got on screen is a Dragmaster, but that could have been one of the nationals because they did 3 trips to California for different national events when they were running Nitro.
Wow.
And the gentleman in the white suit leaning over the car, that's Ron Abbott. And his friend Bob next to him with his leg on a tire, that's his real good friend there and stuff. So they used to drive back and forth together all the time. I got all this info from Scott, his son.
You know, isn't it funny that back then, because of the way people dressed, people tended to be more classy back then, and everybody looks like Steve McQueen. I mean, everybody just looks cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know, they do.
In fact, Scott's mom, I'm sorry to cut you off. Scott's mom remembers most of these events, and she's the one who gave all the information, and Scott sat there, and took the notes down on who was who in the pictures and stuff.
Oh, that's great. You know, we talk about that, and you're talking about classy looks. Yet, drag racers were considered to be the rebels and the outlaw.
How odd, right?
Kind of like the motorcycle riders were.
Sure.
And I've got one friend that drove the famous freight train, Bob Maravis, a.k.a. Floyd Lippincott Jr. That was a bone of contention between he and his father.
What do you
Wow.
know?
That's why he used a fake name to go
That's why he
racing.
called himself Floyd Lippincott Jr.
But, hot rodders have spawned a $30 billion a year aftermarket industry, so
Yeah.
we're kind of smart in a way, aren't we?
Kind of,
yeah,
yes.
I'd say so.
I've
Okay,
never
so
That's all the
Bobby,
technology came from the racers and stuff, and they
There
just
you
kept
go.
putting it in.
Yeah,
That's-
you had the factory involved with the guys from Ram Chargers, who are all engineers at Chrysler.
Yep, that's the same chassis that was in the black and white picture. They're just not familiar what national event that one was, but that's Ron Abbott sitting in that car,
Wow.
getting pushed back to this, back into the pits after a pass.
now
Small.
you faithfully have restored this vehicle, correct? And you take it to events?
That's the one I restored there. That's the original Hell's a Poppin'. And when I was redoing it, I got in touch with Dode Martin and the late Jimmy Nelson, and they confirmed that is definitely one of the ones. They did a twin hoop in their shop, and then they offered the kit through Moon Eyes because Moon Eyes was a dealer for Dragmaster, but they remember this one coming to New York, and Dode had me laughing. He was saying that they remembered it had to go to New York to the comedy team. And he completely threw me off guard. I says, what comedy team? He said, the only way they can remember it was Abbott and Costello, and it was Ron Abbott.
Oh, great! I didn't even put that together.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of that either. That's good.
We want to thank
that's-
Kiki Dubois for those photos. too.
And then,
Yeah, Kiki
and that's
took
Lebanon
those.
Valley. That's the home track. That track is still going today. That's where we have our annual Dover race in September again, our 9th annual Nostalgia Weekend. And I have more history when I take Hells of Poppin' out, and there's racers from the area. They remember that car. As soon as they turn around the corner, and if they see one of the two highlights on it, they come up to me and he says, I never thought I would see this car 52, 53 years later after I saw it the first time.
Wow.
That is so cool.
Yeah, that's just a neat car. I've always liked the styling on the Dragmaster chassis. Those things were neat. And I remember when they were here in the San Fernando Valley, and they used to...
The company was.
The company was.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they were in Van Nuys. And when I was a kid, that was one of my places I'd stop and drool when I walked down Van Nuys Boulevard.
Man.
Because I'd see them out there.
God, you know, the stuff that used to be there. In Van Nuys, there was also a GM plant, too, right?
I lived across the street from that.
What do you? And of course, I must put things into their important perspective. The Budweiser plant is still there.
Yeah.
Hey, not everybody moved out.
No.
I have a joke.
Yeah.
Again?
Yes. Do you know why beer drinking makes you smart?
No.
Because it made Budweiser.
Hey!
Hey!
Okay.
There you go.
Well, we
I'm
know
the comic relief.
we know the tone of the show for tonight.
Now you have
that's
Alley Oop too, and are you still selling that little car?
Yeah, that's in this picture here. That's the one on the right, and I'm trying to. I originally did Alley Oop, restored it, and brought it back out because I wanted the two Dover Dragstrip legends together. These two cars ran each other just about every weekend for Top Eliminator. Hells of Poppin' was A dragster, Alley Oop was B dragster, and the rarity with Alley Oop is it's got the original Algon fuel injection on it that the boys from the modifiers of Danbury, Connecticut ran on that car back in 1959 when they first put that together, when they got the car from Pat Bilblow out of Linwood Welding out of Pennsylvania.
That's like a mechanical fuel injection, right? I mean, obviously, if it was electronic, it would be vacuum tubes. But how tough is that to keep going, Bobby? I mean, once you get the thing set up, is it reliable? Does it work for you on the quarter mile?
Yeah, they work really good. Was the rarity of the Algon fuel injection was each individual nozzle for the port was adjustable. You can either richen or lean each nozzle out by reading the spark plugs, and you can turn it a quarter turn one way or the other. I've been in touch with Kevin, Al Gonzalez's son-in-law, I think it is. He sent me the book on it, and it was so simple that it doesn't have like the Hillborn fuel injection that's on Hells of Poppin', that has the pressure spring, and when it hits a certain pressure, it leans out the system. Where the Algon just has the one mechanical pump, puts it through, and you adjust the nozzles for how you want to run each cylinder. You can almost do per cylinder adjustment back then.
God, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah, the cards are cool, and you've sent me this poster. I've got that in my race room at home, where I've got...
that was done by Dino. Dino the Weirdo. He used to be the track announcer and did all the 90% of the lettering on the cars at our Dover drag strip, and he's the one who keeps the Dover Nostalgia Show race weekend going.
Cool.
And he did that for the legends to keep them both together on the on the sign there like that.
Bobby, how long have you owned these cars?
Hells of Poppin' I finished in 2010, and Alley Oop I finished in 2013. I got that in 12. I finished it in 13 because all of the chassis work was done on that. Hells of Poppin' I had to strip it down, and my friend Steve White, who painted it, wanted it all the bare metal and everything off it, and we found a couple of weak spots, and so that one's almost 7 years, the other one's about 4 years.
All right, so those are all mild steel chassis, though, correct? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
And the way Dode used to tell me with the Dragmasters was because Dode was with the aviation companies, and after the war, he worked in I forgot which factory plant was out in California at the time, but he worked with all the steel and stuff. So that's why he basically figured out how big a motor is going to go into their chassis, depending on what steel they were going to use.
Wow.
And then what they used to do was there was a big plant out there that had these big furnaces, and they used to pick up the chassis and put them into the furnace, and it took all the stress out of the steel and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then once they came out with the chromoly, they didn't have to worry about doing that no more. But he sent me a picture of him and Jimmy Nelson standing next to the furnace when they were putting one of the chassis in to get it, heated up and de-stressed or whatever you want to call
let
it.
Settle, yeah. And I know on the chromoly they had to normalize the welds about three or so inches on each side of the weld. You had to normalize it, otherwise they would crystallize at the weld.
Yep.
The science of this stuff, even then. I would assume that aircraft plant was probably either Lockheed or Boeing.
Yeah, you would think
I
that.
think, I think he said Boeing at the time, because he was. Then he started to, which is rare for the veterans and stuff. But he even started telling me about when, when he landed on a couple of the main battles overseas and stuff like that. So, so it's a pretty active feller. And at 94 years old, he just finished building a blow-in small block 1960 appearance for a friend that I made through Dode out of Texas, Charles.
Wow.
He's got a Dragmaster chassis that looks like mine, but a single hoop, but it's a right steer. The steering arm comes out on the right side. Somebody turned it over to a right steer. And Dode just finished building a motor about a month ago. And they got it in the car, and they're down Texas touring another restored Mark IV Dragmaster with a motor that Dode and his friends built. It was like a reunion. They were building a motor like they did back in the 50s and 60s. They were all together there, and they found all the original parts that they wanted the motor to look like.
Wow. So what's on the horizon? Any shows you're going to go to with these cars?
I'm probably going to go up to Vermont. There's a couple of shows up there I want to do, because one of the pictures when it was up in New Hampshire there, you'll see a dragster next to the trailer under a cover. That's the last Hellzapoppin Dragmaster chassis that Ron raced.
Wow.
And John Kiefer, the gentleman who owns it, was kind enough to bring it down to New Hampshire for the last show. And we parked next to each other. We had the first and last Hellzapoppin Dragmasters. That's the picture there. The one in the background underneath the tarp. They didn't get there early enough to uncover it, but that's the last Dragmaster Hellzapoppin that Ron Abbott ran before he went to the Fuller chassis with the nitro motors and stuff.
What were the ETs like back then? What were you guys running?
Hellzapoppin had the record of 970, about 160 something. I don't have the full thing. And Alley-Oop, that was the B Dragster. I'm trying to get information on it. I got 2 magazine articles and stuff from it back in 61 down at the Island Dragway in New Jersey, which is a still going track for over 50 years. That was the first B Dragster to be in the 9s. That ran a 984, I think it was, at just about 159 miles an hour.
Wow.
So they got some history behind both of them.
Oh, that's great. Hey, Bobby, thanks for calling in. Thanks for watching the show all the time. You've been
Oh man, it's awesome. I got more and more guys kept calling me today. They said, "What time? What time is it today?" Anna keeps correcting me every time I send her a note. She says, "It's not this Wednesday. It's next Wednesday."
Yeah,
So I love that.
Just remember the second and fourth Wednesday of the month.
Even I can't remember, Bobby.
I know. And he calls me and it says, "Hey, aren't we going to be here tonight?"
Where's the show, man?
Yeah, so it's the second and fourth Wednesdays. We'll be here, and as sponsorships come on, we will expand. The goal is to be on once a week on Wednesday nights.
Oh, cool. That'll be awesome. You're getting the coverage here. My one friend with the body shop, his son Junior, I mentioned this last time, he still keeps talking about the show when you're talking about the gentleman that is doing, the grandson who's doing all the lead work now that his grandfather used to do in the shop.
That's Mitch Hines, and I'm going to see him tomorrow. Yeah, I'll tell
cool.
him. He'll be so happy.
Yep, just told me he's got a 19-year-old young boy that's in the body work, and he's Google got over the way he does. His grandfather did all the lead work and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. That's great.
Nice.
So.
All right, Bobby, thank you very much for calling in. We do appreciate it, and we appreciate all you do for us. As soon as we get the gas stickers, I'll get you some gas stickers out there being printed up right now.
Awesome. I'll be waiting. And then have a good time. Enjoy the weekend at your shows that you got coming up.
Oh, yeah, we got some big ones. Thanks, Bobby. Take care now.
Thank you much. Be safe, everybody.
Smoochy. Smoochy.
All right, we're going to take a quick break right now and give NHRA a plug, the National Holly Hot Rod Reunion.
We're back. The 50
15th Annual Holly National Hot Rod Reunion, presented by AAA Insurance, returns to Bowling Green June 15th through the 17th. Father's Day weekend at historic Beach Bend Raceway. Get your tickets today for 3 days of quarter-mile nitro, nostalgia, hotheads, drag racing, and Exalta's Giant Show and Shine. Check out the Vintage Swap Meet and Vendor Midway. Buy before May 29th for a $10 savings over gate admission. Kids 15 and under, free with paid adult. Auto Club members save even more. Tickets available by calling 1-800-884-6472 or online at nhra.com/Hot Rod Reunion. Buy at the gate for just $25 a day. For more information, visit us at nhramuseum.org and click on Reunions.
Open road, here comes the Heffley family.
Whether it's a short trip or a long haul,
Estimated time 47 hours.
they will beg,
You're hungry? I'm happy to provide.
they will plead.
Deep fried butter on a stick.
But whatever you do, don't wimp out.
Now you're talking.
Make them buckle up.
He can't hurt.
Remember, safety first. Cheese curls second.
Are you orange?
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gas. And, you know, the trend nowadays in some parts of the country and some cities is to try and go big. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't work. And this is our WTF series.
And what does that stand for, Bob?
Oh, I can't say that, even though we're not on regular commercial TV. But these are some of the photos that have been sent in to us about what the...
That is so bad.
People actually think this looks cool. This guy's got he's got flywheels. The problem with this thing is it doesn't work. But anyway, you've got these little tiny brakes compared to the size of the wheel. Those become flywheels. And as you're spinning them, you're driving down the road, you hit the brakes, it ain't going to work.
Yeah, you're right, because there's a whole lot more weight and centrifugal force that's pushing that wheel around. You know, it's funny. Those wheels look like the guy pulled up to the Peterson Automotive Museum and stole part of the outside of it.
He did. You know, it looks like one of those. It looks like a Hot Wheels car.
It does.
It's called a donk. Donk, donk,
Donk?
donk, donk, donk. Oh, that's worse.
Now here's
This is
what
not
happened.
safe.
Not only did you buy yourself a Camaro convertible,
Why?
but you wrapped it or painted it gold.
That's
chrome.
gold aluminum foil.
Gold aluminum foil. Gold aluminum. But look at those wheels.
What are those, 28, 36-inch rims? What is that?
Yeah, 36,
bad.
24, 36, something like that.
Ah.
Anyway, and then, all right, now here. Honey, I shrunk the Volkswagen.
You know, I'll admit, there's a few of those conversions where the
Yeah.
transporter, the buses, are
Yeah,
very
they
cute when they
shorten
get
them,
short.
yeah.
But boy, doing it to a bug, it's pretty short already.
I mean, you know, it's kind of interesting looking.
That one's not so bad.
It's not so bad, but it's definitely different.
Yeah.
But it's another one of those. Why?
Well, the chop in the back isn't that. Now this
All right,
is...
now this is a gentleman who had
man.
much too much time on his mind and no brains in there mind over matter. He doesn't have much of a mind, so it really doesn't matter. But he actually did this to a Porsche
He has a Mazda rotary emblem in the back wheel.
for the back wheel, yeah. And then he's got all these add-on blotches of things.
Right, and they're kind of homemade. It almost looks like an iceberg froze around the car and it's now melting off or something.
He took it to Earl Scheib when they were painting it. They put it in the heating oven to dry the paint quick, and all the Bondo kind of molded down.
Okay, America. We are giving you a lesson on car customizing on what not to do because it's not even safe.
Oh, look at this.
Ay, ay, ay.
Now,
Lucy.
I have enough trouble with guys with 4x4s raising them mile high in the sky. But this is an Oldsmobile convertible. Really, guys?
You know, the only Because, having done... all right, so I'm going to have to pull up this photo.
Okay.
Having done this once to a car that was a basket case, so that was my excuse. This car was going to
Your
die.
Mustang.
That's right, that car. And
Bruce, did you do that?
I did that
On purpose.
And I had the car until, 8 months ago. I sold it to a guy who does special effects for the movies. And
But you put it on a Bronco chassis.
it's true, it was a Bronco chassis, and it was a fully stock Bronco chassis with a 176 cylinder in it, so it wasn't a hot rod. But the car itself was not a convertible. It started as a hardtop. It was, it had been rolled or something. I don't even know what happened. The top was crushed. We cut the top off. The car was going to fold in half anyway.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as if I took a Mustang that was some pristine thing.
Bruce, I love you, but that's why Chevy people hate us. That's not what you do to a Mustang. I have one of those. We don't do that.
They call that a Rustang.
Yeah,
Oh,
a
little
Mustang.
pony.
Yeah, in fact,
Oh,
we've got
here's
a
some
little
video of it.
Yeah, a little video here. Let's see if we can find it. Yes, moving down the road. But, you can see from the driver's area there, it was a little taller than normal. And notice,
Wow,
Suspension works.
That's very ingenious, though.
Yeah, choke cables ran the shifters. It was delicate. You couldn't power shift in that thing, or you'd just break the whole thing open. So, anyway, I wanted to point out that I know we've got more, and I couldn't find a photo of this. This is as close as I got to what they did with the in Back to the Future 3. There was the DeLorean that wore the train wheels.
Yeah. But that was a movie prop, and it wasn't supposed to be on the street.
That's right.
The other cars we're showing are actually on the street.
I have a secret on the DeLorean movie car because I'm at the Peterson. They used helicopter and jet parts on those cars that actually worked, which is actually kind of cool.
Well, the one I wanted to find of that car is I think in that same movie, Back to the Future 3, it gets a flat or something, like a cactus pokes the car and, it deflates a tire or something. Anyway, they tow it back to town with a horse, I think, and it's got this giant carriage wheel on it, which brings us right back around to these cars because it looks ridiculous with this giant carriage wheel on it.
Look at
the irony on that car is it would be a fabulous lowrider. It really would.
It would be. And to be honest with you, some of the people that are doing this are the guys that would have or have in the past driven some lowriders.
You're right.
Now, this one's kind of like, okay.
Well, it's disproportional and definitely not safe in the rain. I'd like one of those guys to call in and tell us the thinking behind why they are doing these to cars.
Because it's supposed to look cool.
Well, there's a now I happen to like that
Bruce.
one because I grew up in a station wagon like that. So.
I have a couple of friends that were born because of a station wagon.
That's a yellow submarine. That's what we called it.
Well, here's another Oldsmobile. So that seems to be the vehicle of choice.
You know what? That could be the husband to the Mustang.
It could
that
be.
Bruce.
It could have been, yes. Well, can you imagine if the guy that owns the convertible we just saw in pink also owns this wagon because this is the one his wife drives? Now, the other thing is, how the heck do you get into it?
Oh, goodness gracious.
You're right. How do you get in? Now, mine, it was exactly the right height. If you open the driver's door, you could kind of scoot your butt onto the door sill at the bottom of the sill and then use the steering wheel to, haul yourself up in there. The passengers were SOL.
Yeah.
Right? Getting in there was tough for a passenger.
Yeah.
What about in the rain? That's a lot of work to get into the car.
You don't drive these in the
That's not
rain.
a daily driver, but still then, what is that, 8 miles to the gallon right there?
Well, yeah, and the other thing I wonder about, now besides the fact that the wheels are so large, how much air do you keep in those tires to try and keep them inflated? I mean, there's not much tire there to start with.
Well, and what's interesting to me in this particular car is, are those plexiglass wheels?
It kind of looks that way, doesn't it? Looks like a glass or plexiglass center on the wheels.
That's crazy. Now, there's a certain amount of coolness there, not on this car necessarily.
Well, I love the car, but not the wheels.
Well, yeah. That's part of the problem.
They make
and
a
that's
great
why
lowrider.
we're showing them.
That's a pimp daddy car.
There we
go. No, I was going to say that maybe they're mirrors. Why can't we see through the wheels in the background?
We can.
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
it's just the angle.
Oh, okay.
Well, the background, I can see what you're saying. On the opposite side, looking through the back.
Yeah, we should be able to see through those.
Yeah, we can't. So it's, who knows?
Sort of illusion.
Yeah,
this looks like a
there's
land
another
boat
illusionist.
that's appropriate. It's under the bridge.
Well, I think we have a photograph that might address that shortly, too.
Wow, that's...
no.
Now, those are wire wheels. Now, I know
now,
you can't see them, but in the photo that I got,
is the aftermarket
wire.
industry really making that much money off of these wheels? What is that, like
one wheel at a time, yes.
What is that, the $4,000 set of rims there?
If that cheap, yeah. But again, can you see any tire on that?
No.
It's kind of like we've come full circle, and now they're all the way back to just those hard rubber wagon wheels that were, on a Conestoga or something.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, another one.
Oh. Mama needs to be spanking some of these boys.
Wow, how about that one?
Well, that's a semi-truck, so
that,
at least
that
it's
one
proportional.
That one I almost like. I mean,
It's not bad.
I mean, the cost of the tires and the wheels. This is one.
But can you really pull a heavy load on that truck?
Those tires have no load capacity.
Oh!
Now you talked about your Conestoga wheels.
Okay.
This is a Hummer with wooden wheels on it.
Wow. And that is fully the Back to the Future look from that.
Yeah, from that movie. Yeah, from what you're saying. Yeah. And that's it. And that's one of the reasons we got that, I think. And this is...
wow,
okay.
What do you know?
Oh, goodness.
Now, this car looks like it once was a lowrider.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
And got out of hand.
Yeah.
We could go on and on about customizing vehicles and, what's appropriate, the flow on the vehicle, the overall proportion. A lot of people make a lot of mistakes. The bottom line is you're supposed to express yourself in your vehicle, but that's just a little bit too far.
Big wheels go around in circles, and those guys think they're big wheels.
Yeah. Now, I do wonder, Anna, you touched on this just now. It all sort of is to taste. And if you own a car and maybe it's a beater and, you rescued it, maybe it didn't have any floors when you got, maybe it's, it's some basket case. But yeah, you're right. There's sort of a sensibility that we all sort of have to trust that we have some idea of, what it's going to look like.
But isn't the point to enjoy the vehicle and drive it? How are you going to drive those cars? They're not.
It's taste too. I mean, if you're, again, I'm a lot older than you two, and
bless your heart, I don't know about that.
Oh, I do. Anyway, when I was a kid, I used to get my 25-cent allowance a week. That was way back in the days when a quarter was actually worth something. And I would run down to the candy store, who also sold magazines, and I would get my Rod and Custom or my Hot Rod magazine. I get the little pages.
Yeah.
And the difference between an East Coast custom car and a West Coast custom car was great. The styling was different. The cars of choice were different. The things they did to the cars were different. One of the cars that I remember, and it's because my dad had a 56 Plymouth, a guy made a 56 Plymouth pickup. And, in El Camino-esque or Ranchero style in about 1957, 1958. And it looked good. But it's not something that came out of California. It was something that was built back east. And one of the things I've noticed when I've gone back to the Woodward Dream Cruise in Detroit, the cars that are being restored there are significantly different than the cars that are being restored here. Whereas we're pro muscle cars of Chevy and Ford vintage with a few Mopars mixed in.
Sure.
You're going to find more Oldsmobiles, more Pontiacs, more of the other brands than you will Chevys and Fords. And it's kind of neat. It's interesting. There's many cars I've seen back there that I've only read about in magazines. You don't see people doing them here. One of the cars that I thought was gorgeous when I went to the Woodward Dream Cruise last time was a 1967 Impala SS 427 Coupe. Now, they are extremely rare. I've only seen two, and this one was just great. This was the Marina Blue, with the same color interior, 427, 4-speed. It's got special louvers on the fenders, special hood treatment from the regular Impala SS's, and it's just an amazing car. Do you see them out here? No, but I saw them. I saw a couple of them back in Detroit. The same thing with Pontiac muscle cars.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but East Coast... Okay, I'm not really.
No, you're not. We know better. Yes.
Okay. East Coast cars and West Coast cars also have, the weather is different. So they pick cars that are, I don't know, I guess more not convertibles, so to speak, on the East Coast. And also, don't they do more round fendered vehicles in the East Coast?
Well, the Woodward Dream Cruise has about 10,000, 20,000 cars that go down the boulevard.
True.
It's 4 lanes for, I don't remember how many miles. I know I walked from 16-mile road down to 10-mile road, and I didn't see the whole thing. But you see a lot of the off-brands, not the off-brands, but not the ones that we see here. There's more Oldsmobile muscle cars. There were 425 Olds 88s and 98s. There were Pontiac 455 full-size cars, Grand Prix. Yeah, occasionally you see them here, but there were more of those, more Oldsmobiles, more Pontiacs, more muscle Buicks or big motored Buicks and things of that nature in Detroit when I went to Woodward Dream Cruise. Now, there was the hot rods as well, but again, there's a different take on them. And where we will do something, they'll do something a little bit different in the looks.
But at least East Coast Custom and West Coast Custom are custom, because then there's Donks, which is a bad custom, and it's like the no man's land.
Yeah,
so.
Donk. Why are we showing the BMW?
I don't know. That's it's in a photo gallery directly at the Woodward Dream Cruise website.
Okay. I'll tell you what, the Woodward Dream Cruise is, if you've not been to it before, it is the largest cruise in the country. And in the center divider of Woodward Boulevard, now Woodward Boulevard is 4 lanes on both sides, the TV stations and the radio stations do their live broadcast from there. Each section of the boulevard going down has different things to see. General Motors has a whole display. Ford rents a whole park. Chrysler took up a whole shopping center, and they had all their different brands and products on display and their history. It's just an amazing show. I've gone 3 times, and it's something I want to do again. The other one to go to, it's Hot August Nights in Reno.
Oh, yeah.
And that's neat, too. So you've got, one year I did Woodward Dream Cruise, Hot August Nights, Western Nationals from Good Guys up in Pleasanton, and the hot rod drags at Pomona all in 1 month. I was just totally burnt out.
That's why you're named Hot Rod Bob.
That's what it is. But I was all over the country, and I want to go back. I do want to go back for Woodward. I'm definitely going back for Bowling Green for the Holly National Hot Rod Reunion, and we did the little commercial for that. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be the guy up in the tower. So if you come back there, let me know, and we'll say hi. The other thing I'm going to go to the Corvette Museum. Again, I went last year. I'm going to go again this year. They rotate some of the exhibits out, and I just saw a television show about the history of the museum and the sinkhole.
So when you went last year, the sinkhole had already happened. Did you?
Yeah.
And of course, it was still there.
No, it was full. It was filled.
Oh.
They had already filled it up. They had the cars on display, the ones that they restored and the ones they couldn't restore are on display there. And they've got the floor matches all the way out. They redid the whole floor.
Yeah.
But it's highlighted as to where it collapsed in. And then there's a doorway that goes down into it, a stairway that goes down into the caverns. Now, one of the things they talked about is they didn't realize there were caves underneath there. And that's basically what happened. The caves caved in. And they formed that sinkhole.
Isn't it because they're limestone caves and they wear out from water?
Yeah, moisture and things of that nature. And the story I saw, the TV show I saw, was done and went through the whole history of that sinkhole, pulling the cars out, restoring the ones they could. The one they did restore of significance was the anniversary car, the anniversary car that was signed by all the people that built it.
Right, and I read a piece on that. It was, I think maybe...
The 1 millionth car or something, 1 millionth Corvette or something like that.
Right, and the signatures were a bear, I guess, to reproduce because they wanted to have as many...
Well, they saved as many parts that had the signatures on there. There was only one part they couldn't save.
Yep.
And the lady that had signed that had retired, but they brought her out of retirement, I guess you could say, to have her sign the part and put it back on the car.
Amazing.
But it's a gorgeous car. It was on display there as well.
Isn't it amazing the fact, too, that sinkhole happened and it was within, the structure of the building, so the building structurally, they didn't have to do a thing to it.
No.
But it was just all these cars in the middle of that big area. It just fell in. It's like...
They got really lucky that the hole didn't get larger and it didn't move over a little bit. Even if it was just a few feet over, it would have got the center pole that holds the building up. And then the building would have imploded, basically, and everything in there would have been lost.
Yeah.
They only lost the cars that were in the center. One of the ones they talked about was one that was donated by a private party. He had finished building it, I guess, for a month or 2 months before, gave it to the museum, and a month on display, it collapsed.
Man.
And it was one of the cars that first one in, there was nothing left to restore.
Yeah.
They couldn't. And it was a very high-performance car, and the goal was he was going to let them have the car, donated it to the museum, and then he could go out on their test track and play with it. Well, he never got to do that. So Rick Hendricks set up an autocross course for him and put him in a brand new Z06.
Oh.
And said, go for it. And he took Rick Hendricks around in the car, and the guy was just so overwhelmed and so overjoyed with this because he got to beat someone else's Corvette to death.
That's because we're a hot rod family and we take care of each other that way.
And that's one of the things.
The footage from that, it looks like there's an earthquake and then the whole floor falls in.
Yeah, it just kind of implodes. You watch everything fall in. It was just, it's just an unfortunate situation. But you know what? They did what they could, and there's the car. There's the 1 millionth, I think it was, that they restored that had all the signatures on it. It was the white Corvette Roadster. And
interestingly enough, they got a lot of attendance after that. People wanted to see crushed Corvettes.
Well, not only that, but they found out there was a museum. A lot of people that are not into Corvettes didn't realize that.
Okay.
Now, one of the things about the museum that's really cool is if you buy a car from Chevrolet, a Corvette, you can have it delivered there, and they've got this main street in the middle of the building, the main building, where they'll deliver the car for you. They put it on the internet as you're getting the walk around, and people can watch you getting your car. I've had 3 friends that have bought their Corvettes there and then driven them back, and they said it was a great experience. And there's the Z06.
I think there's at least 5 cars. There's 5 in that photo. The white one, the black one, the blue, the red.
Yeah, the blue one was in pretty good shape.
5.
But the white one had gone down on the windshield.
Oops.
But for the most part, the chassis was intact. They straightened it. They did some things to it. But they were able to restore that car. There was a few that they weren't able to. They're on display with the mud and the grud on them that you can see as well. So it's a very interesting thing. You see the history of the Corvette. There are many Corvettes on display. It's a beautiful museum. And if you get the chance, you're in Bowling Green, Kentucky, going to the museum. You can also tour the factory where they build the Corvettes. And I did that as well last year.
Ooh, that would be cool.
And that was interesting. You get to walk down the assembly line and see them doing it. One of the special programs that they have at the Corvette factory is if you would like to hand build your engine alongside the technician, you can do that. It's an extra $5,000. You go in, build your motor. Every motor for the Corvette is hand-assembled at the factory there.
Huh.
But you can do as much or as little of the assembly as you want. You get to sign it and everything else and put it in your own car. Well, you can't put it in your car, but you can build it and they'll put it in on the assembly line. And that's an amazing thing to see because that is just, everything's timed going down the assembly line. As the car gets to a certain point, it needs tires. Well, the correct tires and wheels come down on another line so they can put them on.
Now that's car customizing, isn't it?
That is custom building.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Okay.
If you're a viewer out there and you really love crushed Corvettes, don't be shy. Come to Irwindale on July 1st for
You're
Night of
crushing a
Destruction,
Corvette?
and you can see all of that.
No. We're not crushing Corvettes.
Oh, no, you can crush other things. Crush trailers and boats, and it's
true.
wonderful. I love crushed cars.
Crushed cars. We can do that. Now, if you'd like to go drag racing to Irwindale Drag Strip, we just opened up Friday night drags.
Oh, fun.
So you can run Thursdays and Fridays at Irwindale Drag Strip. $20. Run your car from 5 to 10 p.m.
$20?
$20. That's all it is.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the assembly line at the Corvette Museum. It's ultra clean in there. I mean, the days that you saw Model Ts and Model As and everyone looking grungy and dirty and stuff, that's just not the case.
Boy, that place is cleaner than this place. I need to vacuum.
And it's kind of neat, too, because at the end of the assembly line, they drench the cars. They actually put them through a water test that just floods the car. They check for leaks.
How about it?
And if they don't find any leaks, the car's passed. But if they find a leak, it's got a special area. Or if they find any mechanical issues, there's a special area the cars go to. And special technicians will work on those cars to get them fixed.
Those cars get the timeout treatment. They say,
Yes, they
you
do.
go stand in a corner.
That's it.
Wow. Does anybody make a T-top anymore? You mentioned
well,
leaking.
the center of those cars, the center of the roof on those pulls out.
Okay. All right. So it's, what did they do with that with the Viper, I think, eventually? The center
Yeah, the Viper convertible, I believe, had that.
Yeah.
Where the center section would pull out.
Yeah. Wow.
Where actually it wasn't even a convertible. It was just like a Targa.
Yeah. Yeah,
What a
because the rest of
fun
it wouldn't
job.
go down.
Look at that.
Driving a Corvette. Now they
Right
drive
off
it.
the assembly
now notice
line.
how the thing was shaking a bit.
Yeah.
There are rumble strips as you come off the assembly line, and it settles everything.
Oh, interesting.
So they drive off that.
Sure, that makes sense. Doing a little dyno testing here, it looks like.
Yeah, they do. They fire them up right at the end of the assembly line. They run them through their paces. They go over that rumble strip, and that settles the suspension and everything else.
And then they're out the door and on their way to happy customers.
On their way, they're
and that semi doesn't have donk wheels on it.
no, and each of the cars has its own condom.
Yeah, look at that.
They are wrapped.
So they don't get any STDs on the road.
Yeah, so they're safe. Yeah, those are safe
perfectly
Corvettes.
safe. That's right. Oh, boy. How about that?
Right,
You know
Santa,
what,
what do you? Yes, I do.
I'm sorry.
No,
Can
you're
I say
not.
something?
Oh, go right ahead.
You know what's other and the really other good show is Anra and the Meltdown Drags
Yes.
too.
And
Those
you-
are coming up.
Did you go up to the? No, Anna was last weekend.
No, they still have. It's when is it? Ends in when does it?
Well, their
end?
whole season. Yeah, but their first race
Yeah.
of the season was last weekend at Bakersfield.
Yes, were you there?
No, I had to work.
It was quite a scene, from what I hear.
Oh, you weren't there either?
No, I
Oh,
was at the
no.
museum
Oh,
playing with a Ferrari.
oh.
So there's Anra. Yeah,
Anra
the
season opener.
Yeah, the season ends in October.
Yeah, but they run it up at Bakersfield Auto Club Famoso Raceway.
That's Butch Hedrick.
Yeah, Butch is, and
and-
you can win a Butchie.
Oh yeah, he has a trophy. There he is.
There he is.
That's right.
Butch Hendricks, the Butchie.
You want a Wally or a Butchie?
That is so funny.
That's a great little trophy.
Yeah,
there he
everyone wants
is.
it. There's Butch in real life.
There he is. He's such a great guy.
Yeah, neat guy. He took over Anra a number of years ago and has made it pretty
There's some
successful
of our
and popular.
friends.
Yeah. Larry Ofria's car.
And,
the
Dave Grusin.
Let's see. We're trying to see the pictures. They're small on screen.
Yes, they are a little bit.
Yeah, but that's a fun show to go to.
Yeah, it's great.
California.
Nostalgia Racing, very family-oriented, very friendly group to
Yes.
race with. And a lot of the guys we see at the Hot Rod reunions go to this as well. And it's a lot more low-key. The object there is have fun. And they've got different classes, and one of the ones I was going to get into was the open wheel class. I was putting together what they call the ham dragster, which is the hokey ass message board.
Sure.
It's a message board for hot rodders, and they have a special class for cars. They call them ham dragsters. The limit is it's got to be 1962 and older engine. Some of them are V8s, some of the guys, but very few guys do that. They mostly did the 6 cylinders. It had to be a manual transmission. The shifter's right between your legs.
Yeah.
And, solid mount rear axles. It was a neat class, the short wheelbase tube dragsters. I had one, and I was getting it together, but things kind of changed, and it had to go away. But I understand that Tom Welch, he's the one that bought it from me. He put that thing together, and he's one of the competitors.
Man, sometimes life just intervenes.
Yes.
What's Porky Pig's favorite car?
I don't know.
A ham dragster.
You thought of that one all by yourself,
Yes,
did you?
I did.
You know what worries me a bit about that? That would assume that Porky Pig would like a dragster made out of
Ham.
himself.
With ham on wheels.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like what's a human's favorite dragster? A human meat dragster?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. It's
No, an
kinda
Oscar
scary.
Mayer wiener
It's
car.
a wiener whistle car.
The
yes.
Wiener Mobile. That thing
Oh,
shows
yeah.
up once in a while. You just
Yeah.
go, all right, hey, why
I saw
not?
pictures on Facebook of it during the snowstorms, and it slid off the road.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it's heck when you get your wiener in the ditches.
Do you think I'm bad? That's so not fair.
No, I don't think you're bad at all. We know it.
Well, at least my wiener's not sliding.
Wait a minute. You don't. Wait a minute.
I
You
have a
don't.
wiener, but
Yeah,
if
thank
I
you.
did, it wouldn't slide into a ditch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that'd be spelled with a B.
Oh,
Never mind.
oh boy, we're on a roll.
We
That's because
are.
we're the Great American Auto Show. We're always on a roll,
We
right?
are. You got gas here again. And Bruce, why don't we play that commercial for NHRA again?
That's right. Save
NHRA.
us. Save us.
NHRA.
Okay, we'll be right back. Great American Auto Scene.
We're back. The 50
15th Annual Holly National Hot Rod Reunion, presented by AAA Insurance, returns to Bowling Green June 15th through the 17th. Father's Day weekend at historic Beach Bend Raceway. Get your tickets today for 3 days of quarter-mile nitro, nostalgia, hot heads, drag racing, and Exalta's giant show and shine. Check out the Vintage Swap Meet and Vendor Midway. Buy before May 29th for a $10 savings over gate admission. Kids 15 and under, free with paid adult. Auto Club members save even more. Tickets available by calling 1-800-884-6472 or online at nhra.com/Hot Rod Reunion. Buy at the gate for just $25 a day. For more information, visit us at nhramuseum.org and click on Reunions.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Welcome back. You've got gas here on Great American Auto Scene. Glad you could be back here. We're going to tease you with a little bit of what's going to happen next show in 2 weeks. Remember the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of the month. Anna, what you got going?
We have Route 66 is the landmarks along the Mother Road are endangered. They're cutting the federal funding for the preservation of the little hotels and motels and neon signs.
Really?
Because of all the tax cuts and the new administration. So,
was that under the monument preservation part?
It's part of it, yes. Parts of Route 66 are not even drivable now. You have to go around them because of the modern highways. And there's a book that Jerry McClanahan put out telling you how to actually drive from, Chicago to the pier at Santa Monica is the end of Route 66.
It is.
And so it's called the Route 66 Corridor Preservation Program, and it protects historic buildings threatened by deterioration, lack of maintenance, etc. That's Muffler Man.
All right.
He is in, I think he's in Illinois, perhaps, but it's now a little cafe.
Okay.
So you can go and take pictures there, and there's all these cool, googie, kind of neat things to see. They've got murals, and that's really a true piece of Americana. That road was opened in 1926 and basically connected East and West Coast customs in a cruise.
Get your kicks on Route 66.
Yeah, they even did a song.
Yeah, they did a TV show, too.
So we're going to talk about that.
We're going to talk about it. All right, sounds good. Bruce, what do you got going this weekend?
Well, now I'm all Route 66 going here. I've thought for a very long time that I want to do Route 66 as much as possible, as much as I can do in maybe a week, because we all got jobs. But it's got to be done in an old car.
Yes.
So I'd probably take that 58 Ford, that Skyliner, or something like that. Good road car, even if it doesn't look great, and just hit the road. I would just love to do that. Now, let's see. This weekend, Fabulous Fords wanted to make it. It's not going to happen, but I think I'm doing a little work on a car at least.
All right.
And it's got to replace a windshield in that Lincoln, and boy, I tell you what, that's scary stuff for me. I'm not perfect at that job, but I'm getting better at it.
Okay. Yeah, that's tough. Anna, what do you got? What do you got going this weekend?
Well, tomorrow I'm going to go see Mitch Hines and work on the Lady Luck project. He's going to lead the car. I'll get some pictures, and that'll be fun.
What's the Lady Luck project?
Lady Luck's my 55 Studebaker.
Oh,
Custom.
Ooh,
My
custom.
55 Commander.
It's a West Coast custom.
It's a West Coast Custom.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, not from West Coast
It's
Customs.
an old Bonneville car.
Old Bonneville car that you're
Yeah.
making into a custom.
It has a race motor in it that's pretty
Racy.
It's racy. I got the swoopy body lines.
I remember her.
So we're going to turn it into a custom now.
Cool. All right, I'm going to be at the Fabulous Ford Show. I'm going to be there Saturday and Sunday. The show is actually Sunday. Saturday, we're just doing setup, and we'll be stuffing goodie bags down there on Saturday. Sunday, the Fabulous Ford Show, Knott's Berry Farm. Admission for spectators is free to the car show. Mm-hmm. Not to the park, but to the car show part.
Big difference.
And come on down, 1,800 Fords on display. They sold out a month ago, and this is going to be the largest Ford show west of Dearborn. Come on out this Sunday, Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, California. And if you get there and you watch the show, come on up to the stage, say hi. I'll be with Horsepower for an hour. We'll be broadcasting live nationwide.
That's great. That is great. A buddy of mine went there last year who used to do a lot of videography for a Speed Channel back in the day, and he took his Mustang there, and there was over 500 Mustangs. So it's like, that's a lot of ponies, man.
Yep, that was a herd of ponies.
Yeah, that's
you
a
heard of
herd
ponies?
of ponies right there. I heard of them there, ponies. Wow, we are out of time again. Well, that's the way it goes. But luckily for our viewers who are with us right now and our listeners as well, all you do is stay tuned because we're going to run the show again in case you missed anything. Because this show is not to be missed. That's my
I agree.
opinion.
Don't miss it. See us again on Facebook Live. We're coming to you live on GAS, Great American Auto Scene, and on GotGas.com. Take care, folks. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.